thank you guys for joining the SaaS marketing series. We are running live masterclasses every 2 weeks, and we're on to the 4th masterclass now. We have run sessions on various topics, including how to drive SaaS signups with YouTube, and we partnered up with Shane Hummus, who had 700K subscribers on YouTube. We partnered up with a SaaS group on how to exit your SaaS. I ran a session on how to grow your SaaS MRR with SEO. And today we're running how to get your SaaS into press with digital PR with Ferry. And I'll intro Ferry in a moment. And then on the 4th of April and the 21st of April, the next 2 sessions will be on how to convert SaaS signups with email, and then how to build links to your SaaS and autopilot. So that's a bit more of a link building strategy too. Cool. For context, New Optima is a B2B SaaS SEO and PPC agency. So we've worked with 50 plus companies. We've won multiple awards. So feel free to reach out if you need that help. And if not, no worries either. Cool. So today's session is on how to get your SaaS into press with digital PR. I run growth at New Optima, and Ferry is the CEO of Search Intelligence. I'm super excited to have him on. He is the CEO of the biggest digital PR agency in the world. That's like already an amazing thing. He has clients that include the likes of Eon Energy, Forbes, plus 500 trading platform, and is incredibly big on LinkedIn, if you do know him on there as well. So I'm super excited to have Ferry join with us as well. In terms of the agenda today, I'm going to walk through a few things. First, I'm going to explain types of link building, and I'm going to set Ferry up to speak about digital PR. Ferry is then going to speak about how to run a digital PR campaign for SaaS companies. He's going to explain some real life case study examples. And then I'm going to tie it up together and help you understand where does content fit into SEO, link building, technical SEO, and so forth. So first, to kick it off, before I go any further, I'm going to run a poll. And that's so I can help understand how we discuss the topic today. So if you can, guys, rank your SEO knowledge. So rate your SEO knowledge. So it can be 0, basic, or advanced. 0, like you don't know anything about it. Basic, you understand Google ranking factors, you know what content is, you know what links are, you know what technical is. And advanced is you definitely run SEO campaigns. Sweet. So 25% have 0 knowledge, 60% have basic knowledge, and then 20% have advanced knowledge. So we have quite a big range here, but most people understand the general idea of SEO. Sweet. Thank you, guys. All right, so let me kick it off with types of link building. So there are lots of different ways to get links for SEO, and link building essentially is how you get third-party domains on the internet, so other people to reference you and mention you. Now, link building is really important because it's a sign for Google to understand that you're an authority. And the best example I can give for this is if you go to a party and you're at a party and a lot of people come up to you and they say to you, oh, you should meet Ferry, or you should meet Alexi. If a lot of people say that, you trust that knowledge and you trust that recommendation because it's coming from a third party. In fact, you trust it more than the person, let's say Ferry comes to you and goes, oh, you should meet me. And that's because when a third party references you, it's a lot more authoritative and it's a lot more trustworthy. And so link building essentially is how the internet and how Google measures trust. And the more third parties that reference you or that talk about you, the more likely that you are a trustworthy person. It is inevitable if you do SEO that you will have to do some form of link building. And most of the time in a journey of a website, they will do lots of different types of link building, depending on what stage of growth they're at, how much money they have, what's their budget, and what sort of team they have. So I'm briefly going to explain what this matrix is and how it works. So, for example, let's say paid link insertions. A paid link insertion is when you go to a website and you go, hey, can you add my link into your webpage? You're effectively asking the webmaster of another website to add their link in. It's a really scalable method because you just go to a lot of websites saying, hey, please add my link in. But it's not very high quality. And the reason why it's not very high quality is because it's obvious to Google that you're just adding links in everywhere. Google understands when a page was published, and it can understand that you've added this link in after some time or after a moment. And this means it's a bit slightly lower quality. On the other hand, let me talk about help a reporter out. Help a reporter out is a method where you effectively respond to journalists asking for help. So a journalist might go, hey, I need someone to give me a quote on logistics in the Suez Canal or in Egypt. And if you're an authority on that point, you can reply to that journalist, and it's a reactionary method. You can apply to that journalist, say, hey, look, I got a quote for you. I have some insider knowledge. So help a reporter out is awesome. It's really high quality because you're working with journalists, and journalists post on really good websites. So they post on the likes of Forbes, the Daily Mirror, the Daily Times, websites that have high authority or domain rating. But help a reporter out is very reactionary. You can only get as many links as proposals or pictures you send. And so therefore, it's not very scalable. On the other hand, digital PR, which is the topic of today, is like the older brother or the improved version of Harrow. Digital PR is where you actively pitch journalists. It's not reactionary. You are proactively going out and selling a story to journalists. You're getting the same type of links. So you're getting really high quality news website links or press links. And with a single campaign, you can get anything from 10 to 50 to 100 links. Now, said some wide numbers here. Obviously, if you get 100, it's quite rare, but getting 10 links is fairly reasonable. And that's with a single campaign. So digital PR is like the older brother, the better brother to help a reporter out. There are a bunch of other ones in here, which I can go through in later on the webinar. But just for now, let's focus on digital PR as a method and how it's the older brother and it's proactive compared to help a reporter out. Cool. So Ferry's about to kick off, but I have a very quick question for you guys. What type of business do you run? So this webinar is focused on SaaS companies, but if there are a bunch of agencies or freelancers, etc., I'm happy to adjust the topic slightly so that you guys also get value from it. So during the webinar in the chat column, I'm very happy to either we'll answer it in the moment or we'll come back to it at the end. Cool. So we have 50% B2B SaaS, 30% B2C SaaS, 20% agency, freelancer services, and then 10% other. Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm now going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to give it back to Ferry. And Ferry, all yours, you can share your screen and you can walk through your slides.
Thank you, Aman. Great intro so far. I see some, 26 people here. Hopefully I can, my intention is for you to go away and be pumped and say wow, I can do that now. I can build links with digital PR because you've seen my slides. So that's my intention for you to just go away from here and say, yes, I feel like an expert, even though you maybe won't be after just a slide, but hopefully you will feel like an expert and you will try to do the things that I'm going to show you to do. I've seen there are some agencies here, which is great because you can start offering, or maybe you're already offering digital PR to some of your clients, or some of you might have an internal department, SEO department, and you might say, hey, let's replicate this. Let's see how we can, replicate what we've seen in the slides. If anyone has ever seen me on LinkedIn, then just put a message here. Otherwise, I'm going to jump onto my screen and show you some really cool stuff. Today, I'm going to showcase a campaign for a client that we've done. They are called QRFI.com. They are a QR code generator SaaS business. They are becoming quite big now. They've had some great traction, as you'll see, but they are investing heavily into growing their business. And I'm going to show you how you can replicate what we've done for them as well. So let's just take it into slideshow mode. This is what I'm going to talk about. First of all, what is digital PR? What works for a software as a service business? How you can ideate for digital PR? And how you should write the press release. I'm going to show you the exact format, everything that we've done from the headline to the body of the email and the outro and everything else. I'll show you exactly how we've done it, and then the results that you can get. So first of all, digital PR. I know it's got like the PR in the title, but generally, 80% of digital PR is being done with the purpose of earning links to the website. So most of the people who do digital PR, they don't do it to get 20 extra leads from this little PR activity that we do, but rather they are focusing on the SEO value of the digital PR, which is a long-term effect of the links that you earn. So the more links you earn to the website from quality websites, the higher your website is going to rank on Google when people are searching for your product that your SaaS website is going to solve, right? Like the problem that you're solving, you'll be found when people are searching for you for the solution, and that's mostly what people are looking for when they say, oh, I want a digital PR for my website. They don't want direct leads. They want the effects of the links that will hit the website every month and that will elevate the rankings of Google. So let's move on to the first slide. What is digital PR? It's public relations, but for the web, right? And as I said, 90% of digital PR is done with the purpose of earning links. Brand exposure should be treated as a side effect. So yeah, it's great. It's great when I know the BBC is going to mention you, or the New York Post, or the Express, or Daily Mail, or whichever publication. It's absolutely amazing when they mention you, but the main focus should be to earn the links, because that's going to stick there and it's going to have a long-term effect on your business and on your website. Again, just 10 links is not going to be magic. So don't expect, let's say you run a campaign and you get some great traction and you have like 10 links. You should not say, wow, this is great. I'm going to have my business exploding because the BBC got me linked back to my website. It's mostly link velocity that should be considered. Link velocity means Google will notice that your website is being linked to and mentioned every month by all these publications talking about you being the thought leader in your field who shares something interesting with the world. So link velocity for months and months and months is what really makes the difference. Not just, let's say, one campaign and then you got like 10 links and happy days. It's not going to happen. I mean, it can happen, but don't expect that, right? Let's move on to the next one. What works for a SaaS business? This should be a capital S, but it's fine. We know what I mean there. So, with digital PR, you will not get links if you try to promote your service. So journalists will smell from a distance if an email that you send to them is too promotional. So if you try to say, oh, we have just launched the Uber of like QR codes, like, yeah. Right. Okay. They don't care. They care about something that their audiences want to click on. Right. And again, talking about your features, they will not really cover it. And saying how great you are, again, it doesn't really work. What works is if you put yourself forward as the thought leader in your field and you are sharing expert tips with the world. Now, I'll show you exactly how we've done it in the next few slides. Talking about a trend that you have discovered. Maybe you discover a trend on Google Trends or on Twitter that's related to your industry, and then you can quickly jump on, create a quick commentary piece on it. You just add your opinion on it, push it out to the journalists who write about the topic, and that's how you will earn links and coverage back to your SaaS website. Creating and sharing interesting research. Again, you can go to interesting data sources. You can even collect data sources by scraping the web, or maybe you even have your own data sources, and you can use those to generate interesting and unique stories that you share on, that you have discovered and that you have created that's very unique with the journalists who talk about topics relevant to that story, and that's how you will earn the links. So a PR campaign can be broken down in multiple parts: ideation, execution, pitching, and then the follow-up stage. So everything starts with a good idea. How can you find ideas? There's many methods you can find great ideas. And first place would be, government data sources. Every government website, every government data, website has got like millions of stories. You can literally go and find data and statistics about everything. And the beauty is that you can actually combine two data sets. So you can, let's say, we've done a study for the pothole capital of the UK. So we combined population data of every location in the UK with, we have found some data about reported potholes in every city in the UK. And we combined these data sets. I think we even combined a third one, which was the miles of roads in every location. And then we created an interesting story that was called the pothole capital of the UK. It got us it got our client smart survey in the BBC. So you can combine data sets. So if you go onto the government website, as you can see here, there's like data sets about business, there's data sets about government, about society, government, crime and justice, everything. You literally have every data that you need there to create unlimited interesting stories that will 100%, you will find something for your niche 100%, because there's like unlimited data sources there. There are like data sets for America, for the UK, even for Statista is one of the largest data sources where you can just dive in and you can find data sources about anything. So this is the first step when you start ideation. Go to government websites and try to find interesting data sets that you can use for a potential story. Scraping, again, there is we have used this a lot. Let's say if you don't have software development capabilities in-house, you can use a freely available web scraper that you can use to, let's say, scrape TripAdvisor. Let's say if you have like a food software as a service business, something, I know, the food delivery or something like that. And you want to get attention with stories about restaurants and food. You can scrape TripAdvisor. I'm just going to come up with an idea of like the cities in the UK or in America with the most hair in the food. You can just go and scrape TripAdvisor data for every location, for every restaurant in every location, and scrape their comments and filter and find out how many people complained about hair in the food in like the reviews of the restaurants. And then you can say, these are like the hairiest food hotspots in America. Right? So you can create something out of thin air by just being creative and scraping, reviews and comments on third-party sources, combining them into your database. And it's like it really depends on your creativity, how far you can go with this. Yelp, again, you can create stories. We've done a study about the most caffeinated cities in America by combining population data with the number of coffee shops in every city in America. And we came up with like, I think Massachusetts was like the most caffeinated city. It even got in the TV, but it also got lots of links to our client website. So that's how you can scrape third-party data sources. IMDb as well. It's a great, we had an education client and we scraped IMDb and we have found the filming location of like, I know how many top 1,000 or 2,000, 5,000 movies. And then we said, these are the most filmed universities based on TripAdvisor data. We found the universities that had the most movies as a filming location marked in IMDb. It was a great campaign that we've done. So you can also, go into that direction, depending on, of course, on your niche. Instagram, it's if you have a travel related software as a service business, you can scrape Instagram for hashtags, and you can say the most Instagrammable beaches in Europe, and you can create a top 10 and bottom 10, and you can push it out to the press, and you'll get lots of links with it. Let's go to the next one. Google Trends. Again, if you discover a trend that's kind of happening now in your niche, you can just look at Google Trends, take a print screen of the trend of the spike, calculate the spike. Let's say this is an index from 0 to 100. So if this was let's say the average trend was 25, let's say hypothetically, and then the spike goes to 100, then you can say, and there was like there was there was a 300% increase in searches for electric cars, right? And this was an actual campaign that we've done, and you can replicate it for any niche. When there was a petrol shortage at the petrol stations in the UK, we have discovered that searches for electric cars spiked massively, and we put this in a nice email. We push it out to the press on behalf of our client. It's called Car Guide. I think it is kind of a software as a service business, and we got them like lots of links because we just said, hey, look what trend we've discovered. We have discovered that people in the UK started searching for electric cars because they are very frustrated that they cannot find petrol at the petrol station. They're like massive queues. So that's also something that you can use and you can leverage to create interesting stories. The best data sources are like your own data sets. If you have your own internal data based on, I know your user base or surveys that you've done, or anything that you can find, based on like the usage of your website or anything that's interesting enough, then you can use that, and that is the most powerful source of data because nobody has access to it. It's only you who's got the data, so competitors and no one else can replicate it. So if you have your own data set, just dive in and try to combine your own data set with external data sets like, let's say population data or any other third-party data sets, combine them together and create something unique. That's also, I think this is the most powerful method to create data studies if you have some solid data internally. Expert commentary. Now, expert commentary is a holy grail because that's not really, it's not really a data source. It's a knowledge that you have as an expert or an opinion that you share as an expert. It's not even the knowledge, but the opinion that you have, because journalists need an external opinion. They cannot be opinionated. When a reporter or a journalist writes an article, they cannot say, oh, I've Googled this and I think, this is the best way to do things. They cannot do that. But even if you, as the expert, you don't know the answer, but you Google it and you find it out and you share it with the press, you share the tips or insights, they will cover it because then they are right to, say, oh, like experts from this company who are, by the way, are in this field, and that's their field of operation, that therefore they can be considered experts. They have shared, 5 tips about this and that. So in this case, this was a study about, not a study, it was an expert tip about how to avoid TikTok scams, right? It was a company who, I think they do QR codes for TikTok and so on. So it kind of makes, for social media, so it kind of made sense for, for them to be put forward as a thought leader. And we got them, placement in like Apple Insider and Link as well. So again, like if it's let's say if it's a sleep related, app or whatever, then you can say, sleep expert reveals 5 tips to fall asleep in 5 minutes, like they do in the army, or something, something about sleep, something about tips or how to fall asleep or how to wake up better, or what foods to eat when you go to sleep. And the press is always welcoming these stories. Let's do the second one. So yeah, this is the second stage. It's a press release writing. So after you've got the great idea, now you have to write up your press release. So this is how the title should look like. It should be short, concise, catchy, and in the style of the news outlets. So you should study how, let's say, timeout.com is writing the titles and try to replicate it with your emails. And it's always a good idea to put down like 3, 4, 5 versions of your title, because that's where you'll discover which one is like the most clickbaity. You have to make sure you attract the attention of the journalists. And because this is the first thing that they see. When they get an email from you, they will see your title. And that's what's going to determine whether they're going to click on the email or not. The second part of the email is the top intro. It's the top section of the email. That's the second most important part of a pitch. Always leverage this first line, because this is also visible when they scan through their email inbox, right? And then just compress the whole information into 3 or 4 bullet points at the top. This will help journalists understand exactly what the press release is about, and it will help them have an overview over what they're going to find below. And then you start introducing, the concept. You start elaborating on your pitch, and you start introducing yourself. In this case, because we are an agency, we have introduced the client as the client, but you can also, just introduce yourself, saying who you are and what you have found, and then just share the tips. As you can see here, we've shared, a few tips in like a simple email format. And let me go to the next one. Then you continue, and at the end, you just outline you have to make sure if you have a fact or like a statement in your email, you should elaborate and you say, this is exactly where the data is from. Or if you quote something, you say, this is the source of that quote, this is the source of the data. And as you can see here, this is another email. I've just put it here for us to have an overview over when it's like a data study. Then we should be, very, clear with the methodology and link to the data source as well in the email. And that's pretty much the pitch. That's how, you create a press release. And then how do you send it out to the press? There are specialized tools that allow you to find journalists just based on keywords. So in this case, in a QRFi example, we went to roxylmedia.com. It is a paid tool, so these are not free tools, but they are the leading tools in the world for reaching out to real, as you can see, like real proper journalists from like the BBC and all the big ones. You can just search for some keywords like TikTok scams and the countries where you want to get the coverage from. And you can find journalists who have written about this topic within this time frame here. You download the list, or you send it away. You can send it away directly from Roxyl. But all of these websites have got the same search functionality, and you can just be creative with the keywords as well. So as you can see, this has found like 35 journalists. But if you put in more keywords and you filter more, then you might come up with like 100, 200, 300. Sometimes we have 2,000 journalists in our list, and then you can use the same tool to actually send out the press release from within the tool. It's got a very, very strong distribution system, which is like properly optimized to send and deliver emails to journalists' inboxes. You can use BuzzStream. BuzzStream is really good because you can set up automated follow-ups. It's a very good tool. We've used it a lot. Roxyl Media, the same, Muckrack, Cision, all of them have email sending and distribution services. And after you send out the pitch, you should follow up. You have to follow up because journalists get like 2,000 emails per day, and sometimes, and not sometimes, many times they will miss your first email. And then after 2 days, you just say, hey, journalist name, just checking in if you have seen our previous study about the TikTok scams. And then if it's not a reactive piece, but it's like a longer, like a reactive piece, for example, is when Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce gets engaged or wants to get engaged, you push it out and then the story dies out. But this story, like the TikTok scam story, for example, it would not die out. It would be relevant even 2 weeks after the first send. And then you just repitch the same story 2 weeks after the first send, just to maximize your potential of being picked up. And these are the results. We got them in like the Express, Apple Insider, MSN. As you can see, we got them like 9 links with this single study. But we have, of course, we are running multiple campaigns for them. And I'm going to show you after I finish, the slides. I'm going to show you kind of the level of links that we get and that you can get with this approach. And this is what happened. The first links started landing around the middle of December, and with every as the links were flowing in, something clicked on Google's site, and their website started going crazy and increased in visibility. In fact, I think it like quadrupled in like organic visibility. I'm not saying just because of our links, but I think the links that we have earned and it really helped. And this is what can happen. Again, it's not just one campaign that we have done for this client, but let me just show you. We have actually done quite a lot of campaigns, and we still have lots of campaigns in the works for them now. But look, we got them like probably close to 100 links so far since December, and we are going strong. We are, right? We have lots of studies, lots of stories on the way for them. And these are all the links that have landed so far with such stories that you have seen there. We literally have this many stories going out in the same way as what you've seen in the slide, and we keep on earning links, and hopefully the website will keep on going up, and they will thrive as a SaaS business. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, maybe I can ask you a few questions, Ferry, on your
Yeah, of
on your
course. Go for
slide so
it.
far. So let's kick it off with. So guys, feel free to message some questions in the chat. I'm going to ask a few questions on behalf of the team. So firstly, I remember looking at the topics of the press releases. They were kind of unrelated to QR codes, and I know you said you can't be promotional. Like, I'm assuming that the more you are related to the SaaS business, the more valuable those links are. But at the same time, I can see that even with like, let's say, semi-unrelated topics, you're still getting huge results. So like, what's the thinking behind that?
The thinking is to generate link velocity to the website. So we have to have a trade-off. Do we build 4 links per month and talk about QR codes, or do we build 40 links per month and then we broaden the topic a little bit, right? So we have to be, we have to be very, like we have to choose. Which one do you want? Do you want to build 4 links? But because nobody really talks about QR codes in the mainstream media, right? Or do you generate something that's a bit more like broad,
Yeah,
but you still get the client mentioned in high authority websites?
gotcha. Cool. And then if you go back a couple of slides to the data sets of the journalists, that was quite interesting because I imagine you use all 3 or 4 data sets. Like, what are the differences you find between the data sets, or like the pros and cons of each one? What do you see there? Sorry, not data sets. I meant to say the journalist databases. Sorry.
Oh, the databases.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so good question. For
Yeah.
Roxy Media is the strongest in the UK. So they have like the most comprehensive database for UK-based journalists. Cision, again, they're very good in the UK, but Mockrack is the best for America. So they have like the most comprehensive database for America. We are subscribed to Roxy Media and Mockrack, but some people might just use one. And Roxy Media is still good in the US. But we like if we had to, let's say, if we had just US clients, then we would just use Mockrack. If we only had UK-based clients, we would only use Roxy Media. If we had to, let's say, if we had to just choose one, then we would just use Roxy Media, because that's probably like if you would have to choose just one from out of these, Roxy Media's got great US journalists and amazing UK journalists as well.
And then
We got a question here. Are the links typically to a company page? So we can get links to the inner pages, and we can get links to the homepage. It's not guaranteed that the journalists will leave the links to an inner page, because they have all the right to just change it to the homepage. But mostly homepage links, and then inner page links as well. If we aim for inner page links, in 80% of the cases, journalists just leave the link alone and they will not change it. And does it matter if the link's using keyword anchor text? So again, you cannot be, the anchor text have got a limit, because it's got to kind of make sense to the journalist, right? It's got to be natural because they quote you. They actually quote you for being the source of the information. So you can't be like, oh, best car insurance revealed, right? Experts from best car insurance reveal, the most dangerous areas to drive in the UK. Like, that would be shady. But experts from, I know, A-Plan Insurance or A-Plan, you can even have like A-Plan car insurance reveal. That kind of makes sense to the journalist to just leave it alone. Because there's no incentive. Remember, this is all free link earning. There's no incentive from us to the press to give us the links.
Sweet.
Cool.
Awesome. Cool. So let me share screen, Ferry, for like a moment. And then
Yep.
feel free to drop in more questions and we'll go back to a Q&A at the end. So we spoke a lot about link building and we didn't speak about the other bits of SEO. So I just want to like clarify some important points first. So where does content, technical SEO, link building, all these things fit together? So the way I see it and the way we see it is that link building is the fuel or the fire to the fuel. So it's what you can use once you already have a website with the right content on, and the right page is already optimized for SEO. So what I mean by that is if you did link building to a website that wasn't optimized for any reason, didn't have landing pages, didn't have a blog, didn't have any of these important facets, you're not going to get any results. And the reason being is you're going to be boosting up nothing. You'll be boosting up stuff, but there's nothing to boost up in the first place. So it's really important in that journey of SEO is that you first need to get your technical SEO and then your content created. Technical SEO is relatively easy. You just need to set up some basic things around Google. The content piece is a little bit harder because you need to create really high quality content, create your landing pages, optimize your website. And in that process, you will have a really strong website for SEO. And then when you add the link building on top, you're effectively increasing the chance of those pages ranking. And the screen share from, or the slideshow from Ferry is a really good example here, because if you look at the traffic, they still had traffic before. They still had, let's say, I want to say 8K traffic, 10K to 8K traffic before Ferry even joined in and did any work. What he did was he added these links in. It took a bit of time to Google to see it, and then it exploded the website. But that explosion only was possible because those pages existed in the first place. And they were probably ranking, let's say, position 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, etc. So in that journey, before you engage in digital PR, just make sure that you have those pages already made on your website. You have a very optimized homepage. You have an optimized navigation menu. Your sitemaps done correctly. You have a blog that's building traffic. And then when you put digital PR, it's like a rising tide, everything goes up with it. So if you build all these links to your homepage, all that link juice is going to get distributed across your website. So it's going to go to your landers, it's going to go to your blogs, everything's going to go up as a rising tide or as a boat. Cool. So I've got a couple of questions now, so we can jump in here. So Ferry, do you think the response rate from the journalist is usually higher if it's from a PR agency than if it's from the founder of a business that needs the promotion?
Yes. So I don't think the response rate would be significantly different. I think journalists might tend to trust a PR agency more because they, perhaps they've been working with the agency for a long time. If an agency pitches stories for like 3-4 years, then they kind of just start trusting that source instead of having like a company who they've never heard of. And who knows, do they have like fact checkers? Do they have systems in place to make sure the story is accurate? But I don't think it would make a big difference. I would say that would not be a factor for like a failed or a successful campaign. I think there is a slight advantage, but not an advantage that would be dramatic. Yeah.
Cool. So maybe I'll expand this question a bit. So like the biggest factor for success in a campaign, I assume, is the headline and the story.
Yeah, it's the idea. It's a story. It's how valuable it is a story to the journalist. Anything else, it doesn't matter.
Gotcha. That's really cool. George asked, how do we prove or attribute the ROI from digital PR? I think that's a funny question because I assume you probably get asked it quite a lot by prospective clients.
Yeah. So I always answer this question with another answer. Okay. If you decide you're going to get fit and we'll buy some supplements, we'll buy some vitamins, we'll decide we're going to sleep well, and we'll decide, we're going to go to gym every day. So what is the value of the morning protein shake that you take every morning? Well, it depends, right? It will be valuable. The protein shake is going to help you, and it will be valuable to your body if you also sleep well, if you also take the vitamin, if you also eat healthy and go and exercise and don't drink 4 liters of like Pepsi every day, right? So that's kind of the same analogy. Like how can you quantify the ROI of the protein? Well, you cannot quantify that independently from everything else, right? And it's the same with every activity in SEO. How can you measure if you change, your content, update your content? How can you measure, the ROI on that activity? Maybe it will cost you 20 grand to update the content on the whole website. How do you measure that? Maybe it's got to be tied into the whole SEO strategy. So I think the only way to measure it is is holistically with everything else that you do and not independently. It should not be taken, oh, this activity has got an ROI of, I know, £200,000 a year or so on. It's got to be holistically treated and treated together instead of separate. Like, what's the value of the liver in the body? Well, it's got no value if the lung is not there, right? So it's got to be treated together.
Nice. I think there's like another point to mention is I think when Ferry was going through this slide, it was kind of valuable. I don't know if you guys heard it, but he said, I don't know, I can't tell you it was 100% digital PR.
No, it's not just our, like, definitely not our link. It's not just our links, like 100%. I don't want to take credit for this. And I never take credit for our clients' growth because I know they've done everything else well in terms of SEO as well, right? So it's everything that they've done, including, link building, that helps them grow.
Cool.
Again, I want to just clarify something because you mentioned, the story is not about QR codes. But we actually did have lots of QR code related stories. So if you allow me to share the screen,
yeah,
right?
sure.
How to okay? So I think
sorry, let me share it. Give me a second. This one, right?
How to avoid QR code phishing scams, right? So I think that slide. I think the print screen is for another campaign. This one here, right? So we did have lots of QR code related stories as well, right? Not
Nice.
just something that's deviating. We combine various stories to generate healthy, relevant, and consistent link velocity. And by the way, it's all white hat. That's the most beautiful thing. It's not like black hat. It's not like you are paying or you're trading something. You're just sharing something interesting, and you earn the link. So it is, most of our stories are relevant to the client. And it just generates link velocity to the website.
Awesome. That was super valuable. Guys, feel free to send your last couple of questions in. Otherwise, we'll be wrapping it up shortly. I'll ask one more question from Mehmet, which was pretty good. So, I mean, like, typically PR agencies, and we've worked with one previously in the past, they typically will say they have industry connections, and that's what gets you like placements in, let's say, example of a TechCrunch or whatever. But clearly in your method, you're not leveraging industry connections. You're just leveraging the fact that you have a good story. Like, maybe you can speak a little bit about the disparity between those two models.
When you have relationships, then you're very limited to just those relationships. If you rely on the relationships in order to earn links, when you are relying on when your strategy is about how can I earn links, not with relationships, but how can I earn links with a good story, then the pool of journalists that you can work with and the pool of like the topics that you can work with are way, exponentially like way bigger, right? Because now you don't rely on just a little, 100 journalists who you have great relationship with. Now you rely on thousands of journalists who potentially will pick up your stories, right? So we have this strategy of don't rely on, direct relationships. Don't spend time on calling journalists and like, oh, we got a great story. Would you like it? Just rely on making the story so good and so interesting that they want to pick it up, whether you have a relationship with them or not. That's the best way to earn consistent links, at scale.
Nice. Cool. Awesome.
And we have another question here. Do we send pictures to journalists or just text content? Now we probably send pictures in about 20% of the cases. The other 80% is just text and tables. If you have a data study, just put the tables in there. We don't really spend time on creating pictures. 20% and 80% pure text.
Maybe we can speak about the press release. I was quite impressed by your press release. Like, it was well detailed, well written. What's that process there? Like, is that quite time intensive for the team? Like, how are you going about creating that press release?
Yeah, it is. It is like it depends what type of press release. Sometimes it's like 5 paragraphs. If it's a reactive campaign and it's just an expert quote, like when Elon Musk fought, they said they're going to fight with Mark Zuckerberg. We put together a quick expert commentary piece where we said, we think on behalf of our fitness client, we think that Mark Zuckerberg is going to win because he's doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And we put like a quick, expert quote. We pushed it out. It took like 1 hour to write. But sometimes some bigger pieces might take, even half of the 2 days or even 3-4 days if there's lots of research involved. It really depends on the type of the story. Reactive campaigns are shorter, 1 hour, 2 hour. Expert commentary pieces are not like tied to a reactive. They are like half a day writing. and then big data pieces can be many days.
Cool. That's sweet. Awesome. Cool. I think that's the last batch of our questions.
I think we have, as a PR agency, do you use the same database platforms to have clients, or do you also? Oh yeah, that was the relationship. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So
Great
yeah, I think we've
content.
covered everything on this web. So to everyone who was watching it, we're going to be sending out the recording link in a couple, probably Monday, Tuesday. And you'll have access to that, and then you can either implement it yourself, or if you want to work with Ferry, you can reach out to him. I'll drop his email in the chat now. So that's Ferry's email. You can reach out to him directly. And if you need any SEO help, feel free to reach out to George. He's our head of clients. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for attending. Ferry, any last words from your end?
Yeah, it was a great pleasure, and hopefully somebody will email me and say, "Ferry, thank you. I've landed this great link. Look at this. Thanks for the information." So hopefully you will land some links and then send me a thank you message saying you helped me, Ferry. That's the ultimate satisfaction from this interaction.
Awesome. Very humble. Okay, thank you guys so much. Cheers, guys.